And as I looked at my grandma's life, I thought what you learn through observational learning. But she didn't have to say anything. She never did. She never preached. She never, you just got to see who Grandma was. I also thought with the family how I saw Grandma's 5 children come together and take care of her in her last weeks of life. And sometimes this family thing, I just think, it's hard. We all get scrappy with one another and we fight and it's not always good. And there's some days where I just think, why do I do this? Where do I go to resign? And but I think God showed me, as I saw these kids come together and take care of their mother, and how beautiful that really is. That's what family's all about. It's not that we're not going to have issues. But when the going got tough, each one of them, they were there for her, and it was a beautiful thing to me to watch. It really was. And I want to commend the children for sticking by their mother and taking care of her, because you've given all of us a lesson. I want to end with her faith. And I want every grandchild here to know this. I imagine that her kids do, because I never knew that Grandma did this. It was one of the first weekends that I had been down there, and Grandma and I were going to bed, and at that time she was still in her, she could still get in her bed. So I went over to my room and I was getting ready, and I looked over, and as long as I live, I'm never going to forget this picture. It was such a gift from God. And I saw my grandma kneeling by her bed to say her prayers. And that just struck a place in my heart I can't even put into words. And I wasn't able to talk to Grandma about it because it moved me to tears, and I had to wait a couple weeks. And by that time, she had moved to the hospice bed, and I said to Grandma, Grandma, you always kneel by your bed to say your prayers? And she said, yes, Cindy, I do. And I said, did your mother teach you that? She said, no, Cindy, my mother didn't teach me that. And she didn't elaborate, so I assumed that was just something that Grandma felt led to do on her own. But that's what we come from, and that's exciting. It really is. I'll just be forever grateful that I was there to witness that. And my kids know, and I guess my parents know, that my favorite movie is It's a Wonderful Life. And I love the scene where Clarence takes George back to Bedford Street, and he shows him what Bedford Street would have been like if it hadn't been for George. And I have to think, I wonder what I would be like if it wouldn't have been for Evelyn. And I wonder what any of us whose life she touched would be like if it wouldn't have been for Evelyn. And we all have a story. And I hope I challenge the grandkids, and to the kids, to the great-grandchildren, is that we will honor her life through our actions and know that our lives do make a difference. And I just hope we always remember where we came from, because it's really good stuff. A saying that I have written in a book: what we call life is the journey to death. What we call death is the journey to life. And first time I read that, I had to read it again. But it is really true, because we do have a lot of struggles in this life, even when it's good. And someday, for believers, it's all going to end, and we're not going to have these struggles. And because we have the promise of heaven. And I had a verse I had read to Grandma while I was staying down there, and it just really spoke to me. 2 Corinthians 5:1-5. Now we know that if the earthly tent we live in is destroyed, we have a building from God, an eternal house in heaven, not built by human hands. Meanwhile we groan, longing to be clothed with our heavenly dwelling, because when we are clothed, we will not be found naked. For while we were in this tent, we groan and are burdened, because we do not wish to be unclothed, but to be clothed with our heavenly dwelling, so that what is mortal, and this is for my cousin Jerry Lee, because I don't know where he's at. I know that my grandma passed on his birthday, and that was tough, but I said to my mom, really, Mom, she was born on his birthday, because this is a journey to death. Life is a journey to death, and death is a journey to life, so that what is mortal may be swallowed up by life. I just think that's so beautiful. Now it is God who has made us for this very purpose and has given us the Spirit, His Spirit, as a deposit, guaranteeing what is to come. And I'm so thankful that there's more to come, and that I'm going to see my grandma again, and that we'll all be reunited. And I'm so thankful that God allowed her to be a part of my life.
This is a poem titled My Grandmother. In my rose garden of memory, I see you standing there, an angel in disguise, who taught me how to care. I long to hear your voice, for real, not in my dreams. I am missing you so much these days, how empty my world seems. People say time heals all wounds, that someday the pain will subside. But Grandma, I can tell you, I think they must have lied. The emptiness I am feeling now is strong and I am weak. These days go by without you, so dreary and so bleak. In my rose garden of memory, I know you'll always be, for though you're gone from this mortal world, in my heart you'll always be.